Hello, hello,
Yes, great.
hello.
Hi.
So, my name is Kristin Brooke, and we are live here with Mr. Shams Arifeen. He is an amazing man. We are going to raise the elevation and the vibration tonight,
Wow.
and we are going to talk to him about some things to get us motivated and inspired. So, just to tell you a little bit about him, and thank you so much, Mr. Arifin. I'm going to call you Shams if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine, certainly.
Thank you, Shams, for coming here and spending time with us and shedding some positive energy and light on us tonight or this morning on the other side of the world.
Sure.
So, you have quite a bit of experience. I see that you have been a teacher and a professor, and you are currently a motivational speaker and trainer. You are someone that has gone through the system, the Power Voice system, with Mr. Les Brown, just like I have. And
Yes.
you're also in a mindset group with Mr. John Tallarico.
Right.
So great things are happening for both of us. And I look forward to hearing some of the things that you have to share with us this evening.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? What do you want to dive into today?
I think thank you so much, first of all, having me on your show. It's really a pleasure. And I think that there's a lot to talk about, and we have to see, how we are going to take this conversation to a point where we can, uh, you know, talk about the motivation and the power of motivation and how it can help the listeners and the people who are, looking forward to, listening to us and wanted to know that how they can achieve what they think is most important for them. So this is something that our agenda would be. And to give you a little bit of my background, you mentioned, I was a teacher and I was like a professor. And there was a time that I was, I didn't have the job. And at that time, it was back in 2009, first time I came across Les Brown, and I was back home. And I started listening to him, and that kind of helped me and motivated me to become like a motivational speaker. Before that, I was like kind of like a teacher, and I just wanted to change that to, communication, powerful communication, that I could speak to, people and transform their lives.
Yes.
And so, listening to him and listening to some of the other great speakers, I decided to, change, my course of life. And I thought that, this is something that I really want to do. And besides that, I have like a spiritual liking for some of the great masters, Sufi masters. And there was one guy, it's like 800 years back. His name is Rumi, and he's quite popular in the West as well. So I just had a chance to translate one of his book into my native language. And that's a very powerful book, and it's all about stories. And since we talk about stories, and we are trying ourselves to create a story, and a story that is so powerful, that can change the dynamics, that can change the people and their life and all that. So that's exactly what Les Brown is talking about, that how you can change the people is through your story. The
Absolutely.
more powerful your story is, the more convincing you become, and the more motivation, people will get out of that. So
Yes.
that's what I learned from Rumi, you know and he
Which
talks about.
that's one of the children's names for Beyonce and Jay-Z's children.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yes.
Okay, so Rumi talks about dreams.
Yeah.
There's one short story. I don't know, it's shorter, but it's kind of a little bit long too. But I'm going to share that
Please
today
do.
sometimes during our conversation. And I
Perfect.
think this is about a dream, and we all have dreams, and how we can look into our dreams and how the dreams can change our lives. Because dreams people have dreams only when they are passionate, and the people who are not passionate, they don't have dream, they're just kind of living just an ordinary life.
And that is
So
important right now, right?
yeah, and
Right.
this is very important. And since you talked to me about the story from Mama, that was like a time when I came to US. That was long time back, and I was kind of broke and I had no money, and I just landed at a place that was like a friend's place. So I was kind of staying with him with a very little money on me and no job or so but the friend that I was sharing the apartment with was also like broke, and he didn't have enough money either. So we were like both living in a kind of a place where there was like not very great place, but we had the roof. That was the good thing about that place.
Yep.
So I just I had the car, and that was I was lucky that I just got a second-hand car, and was like working and finding my job and all that. And one day I saw on a Sunday morning, there was this old lady. She was trying to get through the stairs, and it was like really hard for her to kind of. So I had heard before from some people that used to call her Mama. So I just approached her and I said, Mama, where are you going? And she was a Greek lady, and she said that, "Oh, my son, I have to go to get my groceries and all that kind of stuff." So I said, "Mama, I can help you. I'm not doing anything. So would you like to go with me?" And she goes like, "Yeah, why not?" So and later on, it was like my routine to help Mama to go for groceries, and to take Mama to some of her relatives and all that.
Mhm.
So once Mama was like, I was talking to Mama, and she really liked me too, because at that time I was kind of a little good looking too and had long hair. I still have long hair, but now as you grow old, you become different. So so
You
Mama
still got
always
it
had
down.
this. So oh, thank you for the compliment. So Mama always had, big dreams for me, but I was thinking always too little of myself, and I was not thinking that I was like I had what the greatness Les Brown talks about, that there is a greatness within you, and this is something that was like not in me at that time. I was not thinking that there's any kind of greatness in me. I was just looking at the negative side of life, and that's what where I was. I had limiting beliefs. So Mama one day, she asked me to write something, and I was kind of procrastinating, and I said, Mama, I can't. And she goes like, scriptamana vola verba. Anything that you write that stays, anything that you speak goes in the air. Now I'm glad we are recording these days, so that's a good
Right.
thing about that. So we can kind of go back onto that. And talking about Mama, since you're interested a little more, I love Mama. She used to make those spinach patties, and always used to bring me those, and I really enjoyed, eating those. So Mama one day told me that, since I was so good to her, that she wanted me to go to Hollywood. And I was like, what is he talking about? And somehow Mama had some, relative who came to town in Los Angeles at that time.
Mhm.
And Mama took some time, to talk to him, that she's going to bring someone that, he should consider to as like some acting career in Hollywood. So she took me to some Dimitri guy. I don't know. He was director and all that. So the guy, we went there, and he greeted us very nicely. And after all that, he told me to make my composites. And at that time, I was completely broke. I had no money. So I just, on the way back, Mama told me, she was convincing me to, go make your composites and then come back and talk to him. And I started talking to myself, talking myself out of my own, this whole thing, that, oh,
So
I'm not good enough. I'm not a native speaker. I can't speak properly. I don't think I can, and all that. And I talked myself out of this whole thing. And I lost the great opportunity that, was like not many people get that,
right.
directly meeting to their, a director, movie director, and all that.
Absolutely.
So this was like one, story that I wanted to share with you, that you
I
asked
like
about.
that story.
Yeah. So this is and my life has all different kind of stories. Right from my early childhood. I was into like chronic kidney pain, and that was like my kidney has been infected and all that, and it took 13 years because my grandmother, she was unable to help us with the, she was taking care of that medical and all that, couldn't afford. So I had to go through a lot of pain in my early childhood, and finally, I was lucky enough to got rid of that pain and remove my one of my kidney was removed, and I was relieved. So and things like that. Everyone has their own situations, and all that kind of stuff. So this is something that is a part of life. But what we need to do is we have to look deeper into ourselves and really figure out who we are. And I can just share one more part of. If you please
Please.
feel free to say that, because I'm a kind of person who'll keep on talking and.
A great speaker learns to listen. So I'm working on
Okay.
my
All
listening
right.
skills right now.
Great. Yeah, I'm just trying to follow you. Okay.
But keep going.
All
I
right.
I let me tell you what I learned from your
Yeah.
mama story. What I learned is that, and I already knew it, but it highlights that different cultures can come together.
Right.
Different generations can bond, and that there is more than just a family tie. There can be a heart connection between people that do not even know each other. And
Correct.
that is why I heard that story and I said, I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
I love that story. I only had to hear it one time. And I
Right.
was like, that's an impactful story that
Yeah.
more people need to hear, especially in these times right now. And that not
Yeah.
necessarily speaking to the pandemic, but just speaking to all of the tension in the United States when it comes
Yes.
to people that are different and people not necessarily getting along. So
Right.
I love that story. That story
Right.
was amazing for me
Yeah.
because it's such a story of bonding and of hope and of more than tolerance, but love for other people. I that story to me was amazing and quick, and more people need to share the good things that they do. And I know it was a
Sure.
long time ago, but it's
Yeah.
impactful. And hearing
Yes.
that everybody called her mama, that clearly shows she was a woman of character.
Right.
People
Right. And
respected her.
yeah, but the good thing was that there were not many people who were approaching Mama, because I had that kind of feeling towards, I have that affection towards older people, and I like to help people, and that's a part in me, and that's exactly what I want to do in my life. And you want to reach out to people so that they can and work together. And that's why I've been always looking for like common grounds with people, and ask them, how can we work together and how can we improve that, because that's the whole idea of the universe, is like coming together and helping. And the process of helping in reality, it's like I would say the law of abundance. The more you give, the more you get. And there was like one of the saint that I have, he said that always give when you have nothing to give.
Right.
Now this is something that great that I learned, that when you have nothing, that is the time you give. So at that time it's kind of considered more than when you have.
Right.
So this is like very powerful message. So when we start giving, we start getting.
Yes.
And that's, yeah, go ahead.
Important. We have a comment that just came in. Diamond Weekly asked, any advice to those whose life isn't going as planned and they are trying and trying but are so ready to give up? A young person?
The voice broke up in between,
Oh,
so
I
I couldn't hear
apologize.
that.
I apologize. So I know that she's a young person, and I know that you develop youth that are between the ages of 16 to 28. So her question again was, any advice to those whose life isn't going as planned and they are trying and trying but are so ready to give up?
All right, fantastic. That talks about the dream. And since I translated one of the Rumi's stories, there was this guy, his name is he's like American, and his name is Coleman Barks, and he wrote a book on Rumi, and it was so inspiring that when I read that, actually the book is in Persian, and so this American author, he kind of learned Persian and translated into English.
Wow.
And since it is so powerful that I asked one time, I wrote an email to Coleman Barks and I said, "Is there a possibility I can take some excerpts from your and use it at some place?" So he said, "Why don't you translate that book?" So I just happened to, be the person who translated from English to my native language his book, Powerful Stories of Rumi. And it's a whole like 300 pages that I translated. But I have never had the opportunity so far to publish that book. And I was just talking to one of the, our group person to, help me with that.
Mhm.
So anyway, to this young lady, this is a story that she can listen to that, and there is a message for that. The title of the story is in Baghdad. Baghdad is a capital of Iraq. So it's like 800 years back. This guy was in Baghdad, and he was dreaming of Cairo. So Cairo is a capital of Egypt. So there are two different countries and two different cities. So this guy was in Baghdad, but he was dreaming about that he was in Cairo. So the
Wow.
story goes that once there was a person who inherited lots of wealth. So, but he squandered it so quickly. He inherited land and money and all that, but when we don't work on something, it goes very fast.
Right.
So since he did not earn that money, he did not know the value of that property and the money, so he squandered it. And like Rumi says, that he was left with no provisions, and he was like an owl in a desert with no money. Now, because everything was gone,
Wow.
just like how our life is given to us, and we have no value of that. We have no value of our time. We have no value of our lives. And we are squandering our time and our life considering that this is given to us for free and we had nothing to work for.
Right.
And those who work, they have a different life. So, my message to this young person is start getting deeper into this story and she will understand that. So, what
Absolutely.
happens was at that time, the guy, when he was rich, he was stubborn and he was like, he was proud and all that. But as the money left him, his stubbornness dissolved, and he started asking God, please, Lord, help me with something. I'm not left with any provision. I had a good life. I want to change my life. I want to be a different. I want to create a new life. So he was crying. And one day he dreamt that your wealth is in Cairo, in such and such place. Go and get it.
Wow.
Now, this guy, he had so much belief and faith in this dream that although he didn't have the money, but still he managed to take a trip to Cairo because it was so believable. So as he reached Cairo, after an arduous kind of journey of 1 month and over 1 month, with tattered clothes and no money and provisions left, he started begging amongst townspeople so that he can at least have some money so that he can eat. And then he started, he was thinking that, this is probably, it was like an evening time, so he was thinking when the sun gets down, that's the time he is going to go out and look for where his wealth is, because in his dream he heard that, at such and such city, such and such street, at such and such house, he has his wealth. So he was like with shame and hunger and all that kind of stuff, he was stumbling and going forward and backward because of hunger. He had no money, but finally, he decided that this is not the right time,
Mm,
and that's not according to his dignity that he should start, begging money and all that. But he decided that once he has the money, then it would be easier.
mhm,
So he decided to start his search at night. So what happened that at the time that he was kind of going and looking for some place to sit, the night patrol came and they started asking, where are you going, sir? The caliph, the king at that time, has said that anybody who is roaming around at this time, you consider that person a thief. And there is no place for thief.
mm,
And we have to cut the hands of thief because most of the people are suffering because of these people.
mhm.
The guy said, excuse me, wait a minute, I'm not a thief.
Right.
I am new to Cairo. But they said, it's like, a snake bitten finger has to be chopped off. So, since Caliph has said that, the king has said that don't spare anyone, we can spare you. So the guy was so, you know, uh, upset and all that. He started talking about the truth that he had about his story.
Mhm,
So he told all about that, how he had the money and how he heard the voice in the dream, you know, that his money is in Cairo and this is, you know, why
mhm.
he has taken this journey. And his story was so powerful that the night patrol person started crying. That's the power of truth. That's
Right.
what Les Brown talks about. Some people cry because when you talk about the truth, then the truth comes from your heart. That's
Yes.
that it affects you. And
Yes.
that's why you have to be genuine about talking. That's why you don't have to be snob. You can't take like someone's story and say, oh, well, this is my story, but that's not going to affect. That's
Right.
why every time when we hear Les Brown, he talks about, okay, so what have you heard? What have you listened? How are you emotionally connected? So this guy's story was
Mhm.
so emotionally connected to the night patrol that he said he started crying after listening to this story. But he said, you know what? I know you are not a thief. I know you're a good man. But look at you. A voice came to you in your dream telling you that your wealth is in Cairo, and you took all that journey over here and wanted to follow your dream. And let me tell you, I had a dream once too. And
Mhm.
in my dream, a voice came to me just like you. And the voice said, your wealth is in Baghdad, in such and such city, in such and such house, in such and such place. I did not take that journey. I did not follow that dream. I
Wow.
did not go there. But look at you. So the street, the house was that guy's house.
Wow.
So he quietly took the message and went back. So Rumi says there is a treasure in each one of us. But then you have to take a certain course. You have to go through that grind. You have to go through that different places. You have to ask people. Although I am a motivational speaker, but I last couple days back I heard Mansoor, the guy who is with us is also a motivational speaker and
Mhm.
HR speaker. I just asked him. I said, Mansoor, I'm new here. I've come back here like after a long time. I need to know. Can you help me to understand how can I start my training? So you have to go through people. You have to talk to people. You have to listen to, people and understand and so that's the most important thing. But all that you want is inside you. Are you willing to work into your own self? Although everyone has started making like 15 minutes video and 10 minutes video, and I have been thinking too much about that too, but then I want to come up with a powerful story.
Right.
I want to make a story just like, if you talk about Tony Robbins, he talks about his story, that how his family, his father was, not caring, and they had no food in his house, and somebody just brought food to him, and he was very thankful to that, and that's how he started giving food to people.
Mhm.
So it is like the people who work on their story, the people who go through all these difficult times. Look at Les Brown, he talks about his story. So, and people say now that, yesterday he was talking about that, people say, he was telling us a story of a person that he was trying to help this person, doing his business. And he said, you are Les Brown and I am what I am. So Les Brown said, this is not from where I started. I was not Les Brown like that before. So this
Exactly.
is something we all are. We we have to commit to ourselves. The treasure is inside. Rumi says the treasure is inside. You have to look your skills. You have to look what you like. You have to see what you love doing 7 days a week and not getting tired, and not, I mean, just like I love talking, I
Yeah.
love speaking. So
Yeah.
you talk through your passion. So find out where that connection is, find out where that passion is, where that source is, and then improve that skill. I'm always improving that skill. I mean, and I wish I am like Les Brown and some of the other, and they have, and I know they have worked a lot more than I do. So
Mhm.
that's why they are more powerful, and then they have taken an opportunity to reach out to people. They have taken a risk. They have taken chances in life.
Yes.
So my message to this young person is that find out, where are your dreams? What are your goals? What is that you enjoy doing 7 days? What is that you love doing? What is your passion? What is that you think? It doesn't matter if it's like you deal with the dust. Even then, if you deal with the dust with the passion, you can become a millionaire.
Right. For where your heart lies, there your treasure
Yeah.
will be
And
also.
secondly, start giving to others. Start
Yeah.
serving.
Yes.
just like Les Brown talks about it, that the more you serve, right, there comes a time when you will be served.
Yes.
So when you serve others, the first step is serving others.
Right.
Keep serving others, and then you will be served.
Right. That reminds me of reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and Robert Kiyosaki talking about having the comic book business out of
Right,
the garage
right,
and not being paid for it right away because there was a value in learning the process.
correct.
And how his rich dad would say that this learning experience right now is far more valuable than what that job that you could go down the street will pay you over time.
Sure.
So I think that that is important too, that young people understand that right now is a great time to do things that are of value. We are going through a pandemic, yes, and your options may be limited financially, but do things that are of value that will
Right.
make you more valuable in the long run.
Exactly. And they say that when you don't have a job, that is the best time that you go to school.
Right?
And
Absolutely.
and find out some internship, work
Yes.
for free. uh,
Yes.
find out some masters. I mean, today people are very lucky that they have all that. In my times, the media was not like that. There was no YouTube, and there was no, all that kind of Facebook and all that, and learning. And you ask anyone, this is like a platform where people are willing to help you.
Yes.
Are you willing to reach out to them? Ask them. I
Exactly.
mean, you can put my email. I'm always helping people for free if anyone needs. So it's Shams C Trainer, SHAMS C Trainer at gmail.com. So if anyone wants to ask, I'm always helping people. So
I'm
I,
going to
I'm
do that right now.
Yeah, and I'm also making my few courses, and I'm just in the process of becoming rich, and I'm developing a course on becoming rich. So I'll be launching
Love it.
that soon, and I'll be helping people, in understanding, because there was a time in my life that I followed, what my passion was, and I achieved that. But after living long time back home, when I came here, my own personal limitations started coming in between and telling me that, it's been such a long time, you've never been here, and all that negative thinking. That so I always say that human mind has two slaves. One, if you tell the slave that all bad things about you, that slave is going to bring all the bad stuff and put it right in front of you and say, "Oh, look how bad you are."
Hmm.
And if you tell the person, "Tell me about some good stuff that I've done," and then that slave is going to bring you all the good things that you have done. So I said, don't worry about the bad part. Don't call the bad slave. Call the good slave and look what you have. And that's why this gratitude exercise is one of the best exercise. Be thankful to what you have. I mean, there are people without limbs, and they are like the world top motivational speakers.
Right. Because they know that there's still something to be grateful for.
Right, they
They're
they
alive.
are, yeah, they have that gratitude in them. So the power of gratitude is that, you know thanks God that, I have the ability to see. I have senses, right? And I can listen, I can talk to people, and some of these people, they don't have these senses. So how they are living? So if
Exactly.
they are living and they are making a great life, why can't we do that? So it's our inner limitations that tell us that, oh, you're not good enough, you don't have the money, this is not the right time, this is not the place, you don't have, just like Les Brown talks about, you don't have education. How can you talk to the corporate world or the top organizations? And he did.
Right.
It's just because he believed in his story, and his story was so powerful, and the message was so powerful that you listen to any story. Doesn't matter it's Les Brown or anyone. I am telling you, you're not going to get tired
Right.
because the power of truth that comes out of you, you say it millions of times, it will be so refreshing every time you hear it.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I would say the message is that start working on yourself, start finding who you are, start looking deeper into yourself. Look at the skills that you have, look at the abilities that you have, look at what you want to achieve in life. And based on all these things, you know, if you need my help, I'm always open to that.
Wonderful. And don't stop. Keep going. Put one foot in
Yeah,
front of the other. Yep. I also want to add, because she said, but are so ready to give up. If there is anyone out there that feels like they cannot keep going, I am going to put in the comment section and in the description box how you can connect with resources, because I think that is so important. Mental health is so important. If you ever feel like you are at a point where you're in crisis mode, please reach out to someone, because your life is valuable. That is exactly what we are trying to share with you, that your life matters.
exactly. And Les Brown talks about Walt Disney. Let me give you an example, one more example of when Walt Disney decided about Disneyland, once when he was in Pasadena and he took his family there. Walt Disney himself was like an ambulance driver in France,
Mhm.
and he was an ambulance driver in France. So he decided to look to get this, to make this Disneyland, and he approached 252 bank refused him to get to loan,
Right.
rejected his business plan, and the 253rd bank gave him a loan. So this is something that I would say, that look at that drive, look at the passion, look at, you know um,
Right.
how people have, with that kind of passion, if you have that perseverance, only then you can achieve your goals.
Right. Because not everyone is going to see your vision. It
Right,
took 252 no's to get to
right.
a yes,
And look at him. I mean, he was just an ambulance driver in Pasadena.
but he believed in himself enough to not give
Right.
up.
That's the power of belief. That once you start believing in yourself and you know that this is something that you want to do.
Yes, your believing turns into knowing.
Right,
So I did have another question before we go tonight. You are originally from Pakistan, correct?
right.
What was it like for you immigrating to the US? What was your biggest challenge, and what is the thing that you are most proud of now that you are here?
Yeah, actually, I had a long story. I when I was back home, there was time my father started a business with one of his cousin, and that was a time, I was in my undergrad and back home, and I was going through like, a good time, because we had like this business and all that, and I was helping my father. And I learned in a short time that my father's cousin mismanaged a lot of money, and very quickly, just like I narrated the story, that we were like an owl, in the desert, and we had no money, and the creditors were all over. And there were several times that I was on gunpoint because people were thinking that we are the ones who took their money, and it was, not the cousin, because he had his own story. And so I saw that all the stuff we had to sell from our house, and the creditors were coming and taking whatever they could get their hands onto. So I was in a very difficult situation at that time, and going through that, quite a few times on that gunpoint. I decided that, if I keep on living here in this kind of situation, it's not, I'm not going to, because I was like young at that time. And so we had decided that we should do something about it. And I came up with the idea that, I, I can't live so here, and I have to do something for myself.
Mhm.
And I decided that I should, at that time, my friends and all those people were coming to US for studies and education and all that. So somehow or the other, I managed to come to US, and I came here, and in order to kind of, looking for the dream that I wanted to, not the dream that, I will have like American dream, but a dream that will help my family to come out of that debt and come out of that situation. And that's when I'm talking about when I landed here, and I gave you the story of Mama. That was my time that I was coming across some of these people, and I was so poor. So I had to find out a job. There was a time that I was doing like three jobs and all that kind of stuff. And
Wow.
finally I managed to go to, University of Washington, and I couldn't complete my undergrad. But then there was a story about that too. While I was in my logic class, there was this gal. She used to talk to me. We used to have like combined education sort of a thing, and she said that, you look like a good guy, but there's some problem with you, that I feel that you are not like in your right frame of mind. How about if I take you to some place where, you can learn something and you can fix yourself? So her name was May. So I said, May, you know what? I don't. I don't have the money, and at the place I think that you're going to take me to like one of those workshops and all that. Uh, how much money are you talking about? And she goes like, it's like $600. I said, I have no money to eat.
Yeah, that's a lot
I
for
barely have like money. I'm going to school. Whatever I make, I pay to school, and I have no money. And she goes, no, no, if you go with me, then you will be okay. I said, but I don't have money. She says that you make a commitment. And so I just managed to go with her. And there was this workshop, and it was really nice workshop. And the guy who was talking about, he was talking about the same thing that we are learning from John Tallarico once more. And the guy goes like, if you make a commitment, then you can make money. So I did that, and you won't believe that in the next 3 to 6 months, my life was changed.
wow.
And at that time, I still remember there was like this brand new Grand Cherokee came for the first time. It was like $38,000, and I bought that car. And so my life was changed. And then,
Yes.
there was a calling back home, and that was the time then I had to go back again to my place.
Hmm.
So this was my little bit of story about that.
So overall, immigrating to the US has been though a very happy
Yeah,
experience
it
for
was
you.
it was like a good experience,
Uh,
uh all whatever I had to do to get it where I was, I did that, whatever was needed. So and that's how I became, a US citizen. And but then I had a calling, and I had to go back and take care of my mom and my dad. And so I took care of them for quite some time until my mom passed away. And then I decided my son and daughter, they are kind of um, going to college, so I decided that I'll move back. And when I came here, I started again with like some odd jobs, and then I started looking deeper into myself. I said, this is not who I am. This is not what I want. I want to change life. I want to change my life. I want to change the lives of others. And then it reminded me, I just have, Les Brown on my Instagram, and Tony Robbins and all these great motivational speakers. So one day I was just going through this whole thing, and I saw Power of Voice. I said, what is that? So when I looked at that, I immediately opted for that. I said, I want to go back and I want to change, just like I did once I had like last time. I'm going to, change my life,
Right.
and I'm going to go in on a different trajectory, not the one that I am on. So that started changing my thinking, and now I'm heading towards that.
Wonderful. I'm very proud of you.
Thank
I've
you so
seen
much.
you have multiple interviews with other people from our groups. And before we go tonight, do you want to share how you would like for people to connect with you?
Yes, like I said, they can contact me on my Facebook, and Shams Arifeen is my name, and they can write and contact me on my Facebook. I have almost like 23,000 followers on LinkedIn. They keep on sending me and asking me their information, and I have almost 3,000 people at Facebook, connected to me.
Wonderful.
And so I am open to that, anyone who is willing. And very soon I'm going to be starting launching my YouTube channel. I'll be starting my podcasting. I'm learning these days how to do that.
We're gonna
And
work on that together, okay?
yes, sure.
Because I promise you.
Yes, great, great. We have to work together, and so anyone can contact me. I'll be uh, uh, making a lot of my courses, online courses. I'm working on it and I'm developing, and the one that I am developing is, while there was this saying that like Michelangelo made that David uh, you know masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
So you it's just the same thing, that while you are making yourself, you discover yourself.
Yes.
So make your own statue and discover yourself, you know
Yes.
so this is something that my theme is, that for all those people who are looking forward to create a powerful life, I would say, create your own statue, carve your own statue, take a block and start carving it and see. The Rumi, once more, talking about Rumi, I have lots of his stories. I'll share some other time with you because we don't have enough time today. And he says, the one who is insulting you is polishing your mirror.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I love that.
right.
I love when people give me a hard time about something
Right,
because it only
because
makes me better.
you look that's what you look deeper into yourself, who you are at that
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And that's your real self when you're working with your ego, when you're working with yourself, and that tells you, where your ego lies.
Yes.
So it's really pleasure to be with you, and I'm looking forward, and I'm always any person who would love to ask me a question, or wants to podcast with me, or I'm open, I'm free.
Sounds
I want to reach out to as many as I can.
wonderful. Well, Shams, it's been a pleasure
It's
and an
certainly.
honor to speak with you and learn more about you today. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to when we do this again and we'll both be
Sure.
even more polished and knowledgeable and have experience under our belt, even more so than what we do now.
Sure.
But
Please do share the link of this video or this
I
podcast
will.
so that I
I
can
will
put it on my
definitely make
right.
sure that I copy you on that.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, Shams. You have a wonderful evening.
And same to
Everyone,
all of the people. Thank
thank
you
you.
listening to us. And thank you for coming and taking your time and listening to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank
Sure.
you.
Sure.
All right. So
All
it's
right.
been a pleasure with the core. The core will be live again soon. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube. And you can reach me at the core, that's TheCoeur, at KristinBrooke.com. And again, Mr. Shams Arifeen was our guest tonight. It was definitely a pleasure. His email address, if you'd like to reach him, he trains and mentors youth from ages 16 to 28. He can be reached at Shams C Trainer. That's in the comments, SHAMS as in Sam, CTRAINER at gmail.com. You all have a wonderful evening. It's been a pleasure being with you, and we look forward to doing it again.